Alright guys, we're back more. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, we have 2 skill points. I'm going to use them. I don't know what I want to use them on though. What is this? Oh, well, we have that. Why is that even on here? Like, what's the point of having that on here? Whatever. Let's go with... I don't know. I think we might go with one of these. Yeah, I think we might go... Just get these 2. Alright, so we're doing a message and fire. Something I thought about doing since 2 months I'm not even paying attention to the fucking game anymore. Let's just listen to some podcasts. Because I'm really far behind on listening to the BB22 podcast for HRP. So, fuck it. Let's do it. Wait, where's the stairs? By the way, this is the Tyler. One.
浪人が何用だ。 I might catch a little bit of heat for this. I don't really give a damn. Yeah, for me. But I tend to agree with like the sentiment that you had in that, like, because of the fact that Angela is such a cool, calm, and collected character, the showmance of it all wasn't that interesting to watch. I mean, they're both great players individually, but if you're looking for like sparks in terms of showmance material, they're not that. So I feel like that's where you were coming from, and that's
any
why
location
so,
fast travel to?
you know,
just to be like analytical about it, you know, I feel like that I'm not a big showman's guy anywhere, but in the Big Brother, you know, when you have like a couple like Brendan and Rachel, like they have external conflict in that they're fighting with the house constantly, of like everybody's trying to get them, they're fighting with everybody, and then they also have internal conflict, they fight with each other in the house, whereas that Tyler and Angela were no conflict internally, they got along perfect. I don't even remember them having an argument on Big Brother 20, and then they also kept their relationship a secret, so it wasn't like that as a pair, they were like, hey, screw all of you. It wasn't like a me against the world like Rachel and Brendan, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then it was on the show, it was like a lot of schmoopy segments, which I like at a time in the game when there was almost nothing going on. So it got very heavy on the schmoopy talk in the last third. That was my big complaint about the whole schmoopy. Yeah. But Chris, Amon was talking about how in the fallout of the confrontation with Bailey that everybody remembers from Big Brother 20. Can you just talk about Tyler's role in that? Why was Bailey so upset with Tyler?
That was after her power app got exposed, right? Yeah, so her power app got exposed. The worst thing about that fight, though, I feel like, because Tyler is such a, I don't think he doesn't like hurting people. I actually, to prepare for this, I watched an interview that he did with Casey recently, but he talked about like his social awareness and not stepping on people's toes and making those real connections with people. And I think he really did want to keep that throughout his game. He's not a fighter. He's not somebody who likes confrontation. And then I think he actually did feel bad about that fight with Bailey. I don't think that's something he ever wanted to happen or to escalate to the way it escalated. He did tell
so
Bailey
boring.
that he didn't need her vote, and he didn't get her vote. So that did cost her a win, I think. I can't remember what happened first, and Taryn, you might be able to answer. Was it before? So he found, like, Bailey told him about the hacker twist.
No.
Or he found out about it, and then she was asking him during was it his HOH? It was somebody's HOH who will be going up as a replacement nominee.
Ah, shit.
She suggested that it might be Angela, and then he said probably going along with it, and then she took that to mean like, oh yeah, like, well, you said Angela, and then all of a sudden he's blind, calls for the house meeting, and the next thing you know, it's like a big blow up. Now, was that before or after he did like the whole sunglasses thing because he thought that Bailey was the hacker, and put him up on the block, and it really wasn't him, and then they were trying to clear her name, and I can't remember like the direct sequence of.
So it was the previous week that Bailey was the HOH, and she told Rachel about her power to replace a nominee or something like that, and then that information got out there, but they couldn't reveal like where they heard it from, because they were still blindsiding the other side. And
Yeah,
so,
what was Bailey's power? I don't remember anymore. I remember it was like she gets the name and nominee and
got involved, and
like secretly name
was
a
a
nominee, right?
convenient way for them to blame Bailey and say this is why we're targeting Bailey. She must be the hacker, and she's the one that put Tyler up on the block. And they did also just like believe it too. Like they were in this mindset of, you know, Bailey has the power. She's not telling us about it. She targeted us. She's probably working against us. It wouldn't surprise me if she was the hacker and is the one that got this to happen. And so Haley felt guilty that it seemed like Bailey was being targeted because of something that wasn't true, and then because she was really the hacker, so she told the entire house, I am the hacker, not Bailey, she shouldn't be targeted for this. And Tyler was essentially like, it doesn't
doesn't matter though. Like that was never the real reason why you were being targeted in the first place. You have a power. Like you're dangerous in this game because of your power, and Bailey was like really upset about all of this. That I didn't betray you, Tyler. He's like, I don't care. You don't understand. It's a game move. You have a power. It doesn't matter if I think you betrayed me or not. I have to get rid of you. And Bailey was more focused on the relationship aspect of it. And we see this kind of disconnect, a similar kind of disconnect, although in a much more dramatic way, on the challenge with Casey and Bailey. But Bailey's very, very focused on these relationships that she builds with people, and she expects those relationships and those loyalties to be held to the same standard that she holds them to. And so she was very upset with Tyler that A, he was turning on her, and B, he was turning on her for reasons that she didn't like, and that he was, in the way that he was telling her, like, it doesn't matter that you're not the hacker. She was like, no, it does matter that I'm not the hacker. I didn't betray you. And he didn't care that she didn't betray him. And that hurt her as well, because there was a disconnect in how much they cared about the relationship.
Oh, there he is.
Chris, I never really put two and two together with this, but I feel like that this incident with Bailey, where Tyler takes this very personally, that he's like considered like a villain after Bailey is yelling at him, and he's very upset about this. That I almost feel like that. Does this now fundamentally change how active he is in the game in the second half, where now he really, seeks the comfort of having this showman, which is quieter and not as out of control as his whole first half of the game, and to the point where he ends up sort of like being paralyzed in terms of making this one last killer decision in the game, where he really could have been seen as a villain had he made a decision to cut either Casey or Angela coming down to the home stretch of the game.
Angela.
Yeah, and I always found that this week interesting with Tyler's game, because I felt like up until this point, Tyler, even before going home, he still kind of tried with them, but with the Bailey eviction, he kind of just gave up, and after this point, he did lose sight of the end game. He started worrying more about being with Angela and not being a bad guy, essentially, to the public. I think he's a person who really cares about how he is perceived. And I don't know how that's gonna do in office.
I'm
See how it takes
what time is it? It's only
after the game.
11:45.
Yeah, I feel like he might come to All-Stars and maybe overcorrect.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that I think he seems older than he actually is. Amon, do you know how old is he in Big Brother 20?
I think he's 23, 24 in Big Brother 20.
So he's a young guy going through a lot of stuff in Big Brother 20.
I think the youngest might be the youngest on the cast of All-Stars, depending on who's in the cast.
So, Taryn, can you talk about how Tyler started to look at the end game? We talked for so long on the podcast about the level 6 Civil War is coming. How did Tyler go about positioning himself to ultimately come out on top in the level 6 Civil War, where we were trying to figure out all the different ways? All right, is Brett going to be able to pull this off? Is there anybody that's going to be able to knock out Tyler and Angela? Casey?
He was basically he bet on both sides. He was working closely with Casey and Angela on one side, and he was working closely with JC and Brett on the other. And if either side won, then he would have just been like, "Yep, great job, guys, we did it." Obviously, he was way more invested in the Angela Casey side. Those were his favorite people. But JC and Brett both trusted him so much that they kept telling him all of their plans of betrayal, and he was able to delay them just enough, and then the buyback happened, and Scotty came back in, which also delayed them to the point where it all happened on the double eviction, and just like that, Brett goes home, and the Civil War gets ended before it really even started. So that was really what he was. He was in the central position. Casey and Angela trusted him completely. JC trusted him completely. Brett trusted him enough, and that's he was fine either way.
On the big decision point for Tyler that people look back to is the final four, where if he was going to be the winner of that game, then he really needs to go all out and win that final four veto, and then probably knock out Casey if he goes to the end with Angela. Then he ends up probably being the winner of the season. But he seemed very reluctant to all out on that competition, which seems like one that he could have won.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we talked about earlier when we said, you know, the game bought with a bit of the emotional chip, and I know that there are naysayers to this theory. Some people believe that Angela still would have won. I think that he probably has a better. I mean, I feel like his game is so good that because people forget that he almost won this way too. Like, if it were just for a few, like 2 stray votes, he would have probably won the game. But I do.
Wait, people believe Angela beat
worry
Tyler?
about things like that, and I think that's why a lot of people, if the alleged casting rumors are true, a lot of people are pleased to see that Angela will not be back, because that's just while it is something that's good for his game to have someone that's always a number for him, like. I really am interested in seeing how he's going to progress to maybe 22 with no romance. I mean, because he's also, because he doesn't even really need one, because he's really, really good at creating the friendships as well. So,
Taryn, was this his plan all along heading into that final four, or we have no way of knowing exactly what he was thinking heading into that?
I believe there was I don't even know, was it Snapchat, or I don't know what it was, Instagram story, where he pointed out, like, basically his corner, and that was a little bit earlier in the season, but in that sort of, like, pointing things out, I do believe that Casey was the last person to go, essentially, that he did kind of always plan on bringing Casey to the end, and I think the Angela romance got in the way a little bit, and he conflicted with his original plan, and which is weird, because Tyler was such an adaptable player who really was all over the place, but seemingly couldn't adapt to changing that initial plan. Felt bad about it, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but for whatever reason, he didn't let his feelings get in the way, and I think that maybe that was the problem, that he really wanted to go to the end with Angela because he felt these romantic feelings for her, but was like, no, can't let my feelings, my game plan with Casey, can't let my feelings get in the way, and the desire to not let his feelings get in the way might have actually prevented him from thinking about it clearly, and which would have allowed him to realize that Angela was a much better bet to bring to the end strategically as well as, feelingly.
Yeah. And then, Chris, can you just talk about Tyler in the final two? Because it seemed like that there was still a path there against Casey, who I don't recall Casey giving one of the all-time great final two performances for Tyler to really hone his game. It seemed like that he also had some trouble with really being able to pound the table and tell that jury exactly how good of a game he played.
Yeah, I think it all comes down again. As soon as he started his showmance with Angela, he lost sight. I think he, like Taryn said, already wanted to go to the end of Casey. They formed the Coast to Coast Alliance. He wanted to stay true to that, and I guess show that he did have a loyalty in the end of the game. And I think on most seasons he can beat Casey. But just the fact that he did lose control of his game at that Final Four, Casey was pretty much the person who took him to Final 3, took him to Final 2, and then he didn't really up his game. He kept bringing up not using a power app, which shouldn't, it's not really that big of an achievement. Like, a lot of people in the house didn't have power apps. Yeah, that's the one thing about his speech that I keep remembering him just talking about his power app.
Right. Okay, so Tyler comes out of the show, and Casey is the winner, and it seems like everybody wants to keep talking about everything from this game. Taryn, I don't know, if it's necessarily worth spending too much time on, but how do you think that the Big Brother 20 experience and his reception after the season might have changed Tyler heading back to potential All-Star season?
I mean, I think it took a toll on him. I think that he spent a lot of time having to like recover from this, you know, dramatic change in circumstances. People talk about you all the time. They're criticizing you, they're praising you. It's a lot to take, especially for somebody that's very young and that hasn't experienced it before. You come out of the house, it's difficult for everyone, but it's especially difficult even if you are loved, which he was, but he was also, you know, there were other detractors as a month, every 2 months. Basically, though, a lot of
Wait, did I die?
was on Tyler. He was the entire season was Tyler. And so I think it was a lot. And for somebody that is like that has his personality, he's kind of naturally a shy guy, and he sticks to himself, and he just likes to be low key. And I think that it was hard for him to sort of adjust to all of that. And so I imagine that it was probably a hard decision about whether to come back. But he does love the show so much. He does have friends in the community, and I think similar to Ian, I think the allure of like All-Stars might have been the thing or something that was able to get him back in to be like, okay, we'll do it again. I'm more prepared this time. I'm like ready emotionally. But I think that he might, to your point, I think that he might come in and just be like a little bit gun shy. He came in the first time, guns blazing. He was ready to go all over the place. I think he might come in this time and be a little bit more hesitant. He doesn't want to piss people off. He doesn't want to ruin his reputation. He doesn't want to, you know, he might be playing a little bit more scared than we're used to seeing Tyler play.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the really fascinating thing to watch from him, because we know he wants to come back and get the win, but also, you know, with these players that they're also looking to sort of change the narrative. What's the narrative that he wants to build? Is it to change the narrative on about how, hey, I'm not the guy who couldn't get it done the first time. I'll show you what I'm capable of in this game. Or was he so scarred by the experience of the people calling him the villain of like, hey, I'm not going to do anything to be the villain this time, and I want to just be the golden boy the whole way through this time around?
I tend to believe it's more of the former because because I agree that he's definitely going to have to come back into this maybe with a little bit less guns a-blazing, but I also think that he's just one of those people that just likes to win. I mean, there was that HOH competition where he didn't even need to be HOH. It was him and Sam that were left up on that thing, and Sam was like, Tyler, please get your ass down. He's like, just one more. It's like, so I know that like that doesn't go away. That never goes away. So I'm really, really excited to see how he's able to temper that, because I feel like of course he doesn't want, he didn't win by one vote, right? But I don't feel like he is necessarily appalled. You know what I mean? I feel like him and Paul may have ran into similar issues, but Paul is like up here, where Tyler's like a little bit down, more like down here. I feel like there's, as a player, less,
Or as a threat? As a player or a threat?
I meant as in like the errors of Paul. Like how wrong Paul was, he's like way more like, there was just a lot more going on with his game, where I feel like Tyler, with a few minor changes here and there, would have probably won. So I feel like it's less about proving that he can actually win. It's more about like, let me just learn, let me learn from my first game. And I agree with Taryn that like the season probably did take a toll on him. Like at the end of the season, like he was in tears when he got AFD because he thought that everybody hated him. So I think he wants to go in and be like, I'm actually cool. Like I'm sorry that I pissed you off, but I'm gonna play Big Brother. It's my favorite game. Hello.
I think an important part to note too about the jury situation with Tyler is that all of his allies voted for him. All of his enemies did not vote for him, because people often think about like, oh well, Tyler, he got too close to people and then they were too burned by him when he turned on them. But in reality, the people that he turned, Brett voted for him. JC voted for him. Like the people that he screwed over the most did vote for Tyler. It was the people that that were not really that didn't vote for Tyler. And Haley changes her vote in the final speeches because she sees for the first time, oh my god, this guy's really good. I didn't realize, which is why I never, she didn't try it, for example, though, I didn't realize what he was doing. She's able to see it in the final speeches. Bessie, of course, never saw it, and Rockstar didn't really see it. And even Bailey, I think that Bailey didn't really fully see the game that he was playing. Bailey was closer to Casey, and that was a big reason why she was going in that direction, which also is going to influence some of the other members of her alliance as well. So I do think that the polarizing nature of this season, where there were two very separate groups, didn't help him when it came to the jury vote. I think that if there are people heading into All-Stars thinking that Tyler, great player, but not a great jury manager, probably not going to be able to win a jury vote, I think that's very wrong. And on top of that, I think an all-star jury is much more likely to vote for a player like that.
So I want to talk about some of the hypothetical people that are out there in terms of this cast and their relationships with Tyler. Now, Chris, this may be an unconventional opinion, but I think that Tyler actually caught a big break if the rumors are true, in fact, that one of the hypothetical people in Casey was his ride or die in the season, that she was rumored to be part of this cast, hypothetically. And now, hypothetically, it doesn't sound like she's going to be part of this cast. And I felt like that was going to paint them as a really big targeted pair. I feel like that Tyler could have easily fallen into some of the, habits that ultimately helped isolate him from people in the Big Brother 20 game. I think that Casey not being there is an incredible break for Tyler. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps him. Because even if Casey was in the house, I think, and they get put up together, I think they target Tyler before Casey. Because even though she won, she just seems like a less threatening person. Tyler just comes off. Oh, people who watch the show know that he is a gamer. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing.
Wait, this game is so much more difficult when you're not setting up
to not have Angela or Casey, and there are people that he really knows from Big Brother 20.
Yeah.
It definitely makes him more approachable, right? Like if you're in the BB22 house and you see Tyler and Casey, like it's the first night, right? And obviously Tyler and Casey are probably sitting next to each other. You see them talking with one another. Like you feel like you have to approach them as a pair. But if he's by himself, it's just a little bit less bird edit, especially hypothetically speaking, if this hypothetical cast were hypothetically tuned in to who might hypothetically be on the season, and then hypothetically speaking, Casey is not on the season, hypothetically they'll be like, oh, I was alone. Hypothetically. I'm gonna disagree with you guys.
Yeah, I disagree. Yeah.
I think it's actually a massive blow to Tyler's game that Casey and Josh may not be there. And the reason being, I think that, first of all, Tyler's never the kind of person to just pair up with Casey and they're just a duo for the whole season. He was a duo with Casey the whole season the first time he played, and he was very separate in a lot of ways. I think he's very capable of that. Also, I think Casey goes in with a much bigger target than Tyler does, which is not how it should be, but I think that she's remembered as being the bigger comp threat, even though they were pretty equal. I think she comes in as the winner. I think she comes in as potentially even more visibly connected because she's connected to Josh, who might be connected to Christmas, who might be connected to other people. Plus, she comes in with drama with Bailey. Bailey is going to be focusing all of her, energy on Casey, and Tyler gets to be the person next to Bailey. Like, yeah, Casey can be pretty bad sometimes. I'm totally with you. And Bailey's now not focusing on should I trust Tyler, should I not trust Tyler after all of our history. She's instead like, Casey, I hate her, I can't speak to her, Tyler, please help me. That's a great spot for him to be in. I think that there's just using Casey's connections, it connects him to a lot of those people like Josh and Christmas and whoever, and while still being able to be like, those guys are crazy, I'm not really with them. So I think it would have been really, really good for him to have those people there. Plus, it's just another person that you can rely on that can win competitions. That's so massive in a game like this. So,
Fuck.
I think Tyler, if he's expecting Casey and Josh to be there, if he walks into that house and doesn't see them, I think he's going to be like, oh no.
Oh,
My
this is
pre-gaming
interesting.
plans have been messed up.
Okay. Oh, so Taryn, you're saying something that's blowing my mind because, all right, so these players who are pre-gaming, they go into Sequester, and I'm thinking it's like, you know, because I come from Survivor, on the Survivor cast, before the game starts, you know who you see that you're in the same place with all the other players. You know, you travel to the island with them, you see them all the time. So this is very interesting. So Tyler goes into Sequester thinking Casey's going to be on the season, goes into a hotel room. 2 weeks later, they blindfold him, bring him to the studio, and then say, you're on. Let's be perfectly fast. And Casey's not there.
Oh shit, I didn't even see those shit though.
She's now on the challenge. She's friends with all those challenge people.
誠立派になったんだ。成長したな。あの下分には上心もしたためてはお前を志村の後継ぎにするとな。心中では常にそなたを後継ぎと思っておった。この戦が終われば世に知らしめる。いつの日か民はそなたを頭と仰ぐだろう。わしの後を継ぎ地頭となるのだ。将軍様の下事情によってな。私が務めを果たせるでしょうか。果たせるとも。援軍がつくまでの間もことを進めておかねばな。お考えは。坂井家の鎧を手に入れ。
Well, let's not spend too much more time on this because if Casey is not going to be there according to our best hypothetical guess, we know we can brand steal that season and see how it all goes. But Chris, let's circle back to Bailey and Tyler's plan. We talked about how Bailey might look at it in our hypothetical preview of Bailey. But how do you think that Tyler looks at Bailey?
I think they're fine. I don't think Tyler has any feuds or drama from people outside the house. I actually saw people on Twitter oh, pre-game alliance Tyler and Bailey because Swaggy and Angela have been tracking on Instagram. I think that Tyler. I think maybe other people in the cast will see Tyler and Bailey as people who don't really get along, but I think that they'll be fine together. And I think Tyler definitely knows how to bring her to his side, especially in a cast like this. They don't really know anyone on here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Angela and Swaggy being super chummy is definitely a sign that Tyler and Bailey probably were speaking a decent amount before the season. That said, Tyler was always closer to Swaggy than he was Bailey. And again, I've talked about this before, but when you trusted somebody on your first season, you trusted them, and they betrayed you. You trust them again.
That's the other one, right?
You can go into the next season feeling okay, well, cool now, I trust them now. Back in your mind, you're just gonna be thinking, can I trust them?
You really not get any charms to the main story.
If you're Tyler, you're gonna be thinking, does Bailey trust me? Or is she gonna
Oh,
not
that's
try.
fine.
They tried to work together, but things go sour kind of quickly.
Let's do that.
Yeah, because we did talk about that with like the whole Devon and Nicole thing, but the one thing that I think that's a little bit different is that like they do sort of have two significant others on the outside. So I wonder like what the conversation was like. Where it was
Everyone's
like,
here.
okay
Next
guys,
62
like
on for now.
let's
30
just
seconds.
all